I was at the Grammys in 2015, and now Tasha's doing Take Me to Church. I'm doing I Put a Spell on You, and it came back full circle.
Well, guys, my name is Craig Ries. This is Hollywood Junket, and I am very lucky because right now we are live with Noiva, who is on Team Blake and who just recently advanced to the knockoff round and is going to the playoffs. Noiva, first, congratulations, and second, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me, and I am so excited to be here.
I am so excited to have you here. You've had a great season so far. I've got lots of questions, so we're going to jump right in, starting with the most recent one of the knockouts. You were paired with Tasha. Was that a surprise?
Honestly, I kind of had a feeling it was going to be Tasha because of the fact that I remember getting her her battle round song, and for her to get something that's soulful as Smokey Robinson, I was like, okay. So Blake sees her as kind of like very soulful. All right, so the only other artist that I can see myself going against, if Blake puts us together when it comes to like genre or categories of our vocal talents, then he's probably going to put us together because we're the soulful singers.
Interesting.
So I kind of felt like it was going to happen, but I was actually quite excited because she's extremely talented, and I hadn't really worked with her yet, and so I was kind of excited to see where we could go from there.
Yeah. I did kind of forget a little intro for you at the beginning. I started talking about Texas and got sidetracked. So, guys,
good.
Those that are watching it, in case you don't know, Noiva actually got a 4-chair turn at the beginning of the season in the blinds, but he only had to choose between 3 coaches because Blake was blocked by Chance. Noiva did end up choosing Chance, and he has been on Team Chance up until just recently, when he was up for a chance to get stolen and Blake did steal him. So now he is on Team Blake. This last performance was the first time working with Blake as his coach for that performance.
I'm glad that I got to be on the team now that I wanted to be on from the start.
Yes. Always works out. So so working with you were paired against Tasha, who was on Team Blake. You made it through. What I thought was amazing is everyone getting to work with Reba McEntire as the mega mentor for this season. I'm from Oklahoma, so I was born and raised on Reba, so I've just had so much fun watching all of her interactions with everyone so far. You said you would followed her on TikTok. Can you think of some things you even took away from her just via that app?
Yeah, I grew up I actually, me, Reba, Blake, we all have a lot in common in the fact that we both grew up on ranches. We grew up in the country. We grew up in small towns, and I love the fact that we had someone like her as our mega mentor, because I could personally see, how they say representation matters. And it really feels good, and that's why I connected with Blake as well, because he came from a small town, and with her coming from a small town, it makes me feel like, hey, I can make it like they did, because they made it out of their small towns, and now look at where they are in life. So it was very, I tried to be as actionable as I could be around her by asking her so many questions and trying to just pick her brain, because she's been in the game for 30 plus years, almost 40 years. Wow. And so she knows so much. And so I wanted to hear as much wisdom as I could get out of her in the, short amount of time I could.
Yeah. Well, I loved your question to her about what's the best advice she's ever gotten. And what a great answer from her too, especially in this industry. That advice is very important. But were there any other memorable things you took away that didn't make it?
Yeah, so one thing that really stood out to me was she was completely flattered at the fact that I knew her song "I'm a Survivor," which is the theme song to her show Reba, which I watched all the time. Like, she was in people's living rooms, and she was in my living room, And that's something that that really stood out to me. I was very starstruck, of course. It felt really good to be able to see her as a person, and remember that she's just as much as a person as I am. Even when I was performing my song to her and just trying to get the advice on my song, the one thing that she really liked about my my performance, just standing there, because I didn't do all of the things I did in the performance, in front of her. But one thing that I did make sure I did was to look her in the eye and make sure that she knew that I meant every one of those pieces of the lyrics that I was trying to convey, and that message I was trying to convey with my eyes.
Yeah.
And it really stood out to her.
It did. It did. She mentioned it. So yes, absolutely. Well, that was going to be one of my questions too, is the theatrics behind that performance of Knockouts. Where did that come from? Where was inspiration for that? The laugh was amazing. Kind of tell me, like, what guided you to kind of do that kind of performance, a very active performance?
Well, one of the things that I hadn't gotten to show yet is that I'm not only just a singer. I'm not only just an instrumentalist. I'm also a performer.
Yeah.
I like to really give people a show. If you come to a Noivas show, even back in the past when I just went by my first name, Savion, if you went to one of my shows, you were going to leave there saying, man, that was fun.
Yeah.
And that's really what I wanted to show and convey in this performance, was that, I'm not just a singer, I'm a performer, and I want to put on a show and give people something that they've never seen before. Mm-hmm. And so with the theatrics of it all, the way I do with songs that I learn is I try to embody the message of the song. And that's why I brought up Nina Simone a lot, because one thing that people just over the last 50 years listening to Nina Simone, and if you watch her performances, is that she was mesmerized in the music. Even if it wasn't a song that she wrote herself, she didn't have to write it herself. She embodied the song so much and made it her own that you believed that she wrote it. And then kind of going into Annie Lennox's version, cool story about Annie Lennox, and kind of full circle moment of both Tasha and I's performances, was that I went to the Grammys in 2015. Okay. And at the Grammys that year, Hozier and Annie Lennox did a mashup of both Take Me to Church and I Put a Spell on You.
Okay.
And so I got to see it live. I got to see it live. And that was one of the coolest moments. I was at the Grammys in 2015, and now Tasha's doing Take Me to Church. I'm doing I Put a Spell on You, and it came back full circle.
Yeah.
And it was yeah, it was awesome. And so seeing Annie Lennox up there and the way she performed, I was just like, oh my gosh, I want to do what she's doing. And so I incorporated some of the things that she did in my performance. And then I went back to the original artist, Screamin' Jay Hawkins. I saw how he performed the song. Like he was a vampire and he was a witch doctor trying to put a spell on someone to make them fall in love with him. And I was like, you know what? I want to embody all of these people, but then give it my flavor, my theatrics at the same time. Make it feel like me while also honoring the three people that I wanted to honor. And so the laugh that I did, that was the laugh that Screamin' Jay Hawkins would do in his song. Then conveying and being the vessel throughout the song, that was Nina. Mm-hmm. Me trying to convey Nina. And then the performance aspect as well was Annie. And so I tried to honor them three, and I think I succeeded at that.
You absolutely did. I mean, the performance was incredible. You know this, but now this is so cool. Just to thank you for breaking it down like that too. That's really neat, and that it proves why the song did just perform so well, because you obviously put some thought and some energy and some love into it, and we saw that. So very cool. It's very cool. I do want to kind of ask, I mean, we've been talking all season how this is like Blake's last season, and each milestone is like his last knockouts, his last battle, technically his last steal ever was for you. So does that add any extra pressure on top of already the pressure you have just being a contestant on The Voice?
Yeah, as of now, I'm one of his last steals, and I don't take that lightly. I really don't. I think it is an absolute honor to be one of his last steals that he will ever do on the show. But on top of that, I think it's an honor just to be on Team Blake. I've had friends and people that I've worked with in the past who've been on The Voice, and people that I met throughout this process. Like some of them who reached out to me after my performances, like Paris Winningham, who was on Team Blake a little over a year ago. Cam Anthony a little over 2 years ago. Who else? Wendy Moten, who I was a big fan of her when she was on the show. Just phenomenal. Like obviously one of the greatest to ever be on the show. And so being able to see them on the show and kind of seeing how they use their time with Blake is kind of what I want to do as well. I want to be able to try to get as much as I can out of him and learn as much as I can from him. And that's really what I've been doing every single time that I'm with him. Is just, trying to really soak it all in.
Yeah. And I say this a lot. I do think it's really neat. I know it adds more stress, but when you get the opportunity to work with multiple coaches, I think that's awesome. So I think it's cool that you did get your little time with Chance, but now you did get to end up with Blake, who you wanted to work with. So I think you did it right. I know that wasn't the plan.
Honestly, yeah.
But
I know some people were joking because I'm a big fan of Pokemon. And they were like, dude, you should just move to someone else. He's like, you got to catch them all. Yes. And I was like, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. And I was
evolving, yeah, I like this. Well, I
was like, that's good.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I'm now I'll always think of Pokemon now when you perform. This is going to be great. I don't want to take up too much of your time, even though I could talk to you, I think, for a lot longer. But I'll wrap this up with just one more question. Going into the playoffs, can you give us any hints about maybe song choice? Or maybe can you let us know if you picked the song, or did Blake pick the song, or was it a collaboration? Anything you can tell us at all, and what to expect moving forward?
Yeah. So with this next round, I felt it was a little bit of both. At the same time, I think it was less my decision, but more of my ideas of how to perform the song that I'm going to be performing. I won't particularly say which song I'm singing, but I will throw a little hint. It's gonna really meld together really well. That's the best way to put it. But it's a really great song. It's a classic that everyone loves when they hear it. It's also one of my go-to karaoke songs, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be really cool, and I'm gonna really do something different with it. And I really wanted to, one of the things that I really want to show on this show is that I'm basically the guy version of Kelly Clarkson. I want to go into everything. I want to go into rock. I want to go into soul. I want to do country. I want to do everything because that's how I was raised. I was raised on everything. My father and my mom, they listened to everything, every single thing. They listened to the gospel. They listened to country. They didn't there was never not a time that I heard Garth Brooks or George Strait or Faith Hill, Tim McGraw. There were a lot of people that I listened to. Listening to rock, listening to Bono and U2, Sting, then listening to Michael Jackson and Prince and James Brown. So that's what I appreciate, about doing this show is that I really kind of want to show that I know how to genre bend and that I can put myself into a whole bunch of a lot of places without putting myself in a box.
Yeah.
And so with this next song, I'm definitely going to be showing how I can be a rock star for sure.
Awesome. I got to ask, because you listed a lot of my favorite artists too, but growing up, we also did a lot of Amy Grant. Did you do Amy Grant?
Oh, I love Amy. I love Amy Grant. Amy Grant, Vince Gill is another one that I grew up on. Yeah, man. Jewel is another one.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of. I've been
all over the place.
It's a masterclass. It really has been a masterclass. So that's what I'm very thankful for. I appreciate my parents for instilling that at a very young age, to not put myself in a box and just say I just want to listen to hip hop. I just want to listen to R&B. I just want to listen to gospel. I just want to listen to soul. No, we listen to everything.
Yeah.
We appreciate everything.
I love that. Before I let you go, do you mind just giving us your Instagram or any kind of socials you'd like us to follow, anyone that's watching this?
Yeah. Before I get my socials, and if I make it to the finale, I'm like, and this is what I've been like branching out to tell Blake, is that Blake, if I make it to the finale, if I make it to the semifinals, like you gotta like let me do a song with you. And if I do a specific song, I want to do Home by Michael Bublé with him, because that is the first song I ever heard him sing. And the way he changed that song up and made it just feel deeper and more soulful, that just made me fall in love with Blake. And that was the first time I was like, man, who is this guy? And I've been a Blake fan ever since. Yeah, so you can all follow me on all of my social medias, which Twitter, TikTok, all of it is all the same. Instagram, it's at Noiva, which is my name here. And then Wright, Wright, my last name. And you can go on my website, which is Noiva, my name there, .live, .live. And all of my social media is there as well. You can learn more about me. I have all of my press. So when this gets out, I'll throw it into the press pile. And then also I have my biography where you can learn more about me. And then I have a shop where you can buy some of my clothes. I have mugs, everything, coffee mugs, all of those things. And it'd be great. Like I'm telling y'all will love my website, learn more about me. And you can even message me. You can contact me and we can have a conversation. So I'm down for that. I love to, talk to the fans and talk to the people.
Very cool. Well, thank you for all of that. Man, hopefully I'll just be talking in a few weeks after your performance of Home, So let's hope on that, pray on that.
Oh, that would be cool.
Thank you,
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to leave everybody with this quote that my parents raised me on. And it's the reason why I fell in love with music, because of the feeling of how music makes me feel. And it's by the late great Maya Angelou. People will forget what you said, people will forget what you do, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And so go with that one.
Thank you so much again, guys. This is Craig Ries with Hollywood Junket. We have lots of other interviews to check out, so please like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.